Alright, greeting war gamers. Welcome back to another Let's Play. Here we are in February 1943. I actually did not continue the production section for this month, so I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. I think first, I guess we'll go ahead and start with the Soviet production. Soviets are gaining Lend-Lease, so we do a die roll for that, and they gain 5 production points. So the Soviet production is actually pretty good right now. 65 with another 5, that puts us at 70 production points for this month. It's very close to what the Axis can do in terms of production. And I think the game plan right now is to build up our HQs as much as possible so that we can prepare for 1943. And I think if we can't succeed with a winter offensive in 1943, I think it's better to prepare for a summer campaign in 43 against the German army, something along these lines, and be ready. The Soviet style has been focusing on the small-scale counterstrokes, which have been very successful. Right, there's data here that shows, if we look at the month of December, for example, the Axis lost 9 units. That's about 22,000 per step, a little bit more than a division. So you're looking at around 180,000 to 200,000 casualties for the Axis. That's a substantial amount of losses. And if we do the total calculation that they've sustained since the beginning of the Battle of Moscow, which began, I believe, around August of 43, or 42 rather, it's been substantial. I mean, 11 plus 15 is 26, plus another 19, I believe, is 45, plus another 12 is 57. So if we calculate that, 57 times 22,000, what is that? My calculations is that the Axis have sustained around 1.2 million casualties in the Battle of Moscow. Now, I don't know if that's an overestimation or not, but it's been substantial. The Soviets have sustained relatively the same amount of losses as well. We can go ahead and calculate that too. Starting with August, 11 plus 15 is 26, 36, 39, and then plus December, it puts us at 41. And it's 41 times 25,000. Presumably the Soviets have sustained even less casualties than the Axis. Let's see what the number ends up being. According to my calculations, the Soviets have sustained about 1 million casualties compared to the 1.2 million that the Axis has sustained. So clearly, if we're going to go with those statistics and presume that those values are true, clearly there's something that the Red Army has done in its doctrine that has allowed it to sustain less casualties, which is very unheard of. Even in the Battle of Stalingrad, the Soviets were still sustaining more losses. So maybe my statistics are not 100% accurate. Maybe the German attacks have been too aggressive. Maybe the Germans are trying to literally attack the Soviet fortress of Moscow, which is equivalent to a Kursk-like defense. And even in the Battle of Kursk, Soviet losses were still heavier than the Germans in terms of manpower casualties, but the Germans failed to break through. I think here we're seeing maybe more aggressive German units that are trying to break through, and they're not succeeding. So the Soviets have succeeded in some kind of tactical, on some sort of tactical level or operational level, have achieved some kind of parity with their German adversary. But the effects, the consequences, have been that in the strategic scale, the Soviets have been unable to launch any notable counteroffensive. I mean, so the Red Army has really doubled down in tactical defense, and they've succeeded. So maybe the Soviets are doing better with anti-tank guns. Maybe they're doing better with minefields. Maybe they're doing better with T-34s dug into formidable positions. Whatever the Soviet formula is, it seems to be working at least enough to keep the German army at bay. So we haven't really seen much German progress except for the taking of Tula in the summer of 42 as well as the early winter of 42. So with the Soviet production, with 70 production points, I said we go ahead and take advantage of this moment and really focus on building up the HQs as much as possible. I'm going to build up all the Soviet HQs basically. So that's already 40 production points. That leaves me with 30. And I think the idea is to build up the Soviet dead pile of all these armored units that we have and try to build up all these mech formations, all these armored formations, basically build them up from scratch. because they're going to be really valuable when we decide to have a long-term conflict with the German army, with the Ost here. I make sure that the Soviets also deployed all their reserves, all their armored reserves. They did, but with 30 production points left over, I think we got to keep focusing on infantry. Infantry takes priority. So that was 2 infantry there, 3, 4. That's 4 infantry that we built up so far. We are in a position to possibly counterattack if we decide to attack with armor, try to attack these other German positions, maybe advance the Soviet army. I'm thinking before we do all that, it's better to build a mech reserve. So 4 times 2 is 8. That leaves us with another 22 production points left over. And it's like, what else do we want to build up? I guess build up these units. So now we're down to 18, down to 16, down to 14. Build up some of this mech units. Do I have more cavalry? So I think that I'm down to 11 right now. If I do have more cavalry, I'm not sure where it is. I see 1, 2, 3 cavalry. There may be a 4th one way over here. All right, so now I'm down to 8. And maybe we are in a position to consider launching some kind of counteroffensive. Build up our armored units would be not a bad idea. Build up all the Soviet units, put them at full strength. And maybe we start to try to counterattack somewhere. I think it's time that we launch this counteroffensive over here in this sector. And we have reserve tank armies and so forth, so we can kind of fight the war of attrition, but I'm actually going to cancel those builds. And instead I'm going to build up these 2 infantry, cadre infantry, put them both in, I guess, Kalinin. And that's that. We have a lot of infantry in the north, but it's like we really could use more in other sectors. Put one in Yaroslav instead. Yeah, and I think that's a pretty good setup for the Soviet production. All right, so there's that. We'll switch over to the Allies in the west. Go ahead and do their production. We'll do the Mediterranean production first. I think it's at 35, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll roll the dice for that. I get 9 plus 8 is 17. 17 plus another 9 is 26. I think this should be reduced, I believe. So 26 production points in the Mediterranean front. Now the unit in Tripoli, this HQ, it has sea supplies. So it only costs, I think, 10 production points. Actually, I think it costs, yeah, if it was only in sea supplies, it would have cost more, but I think the exception is if it's near a port, a major port, which it is. So I think it only costs 10. So that's now we're down to 16. Now we're down to 11. And then go ahead and build up this mech unit here, and that's it for the Mediterranean. Now we can also send half of that supplies, or half the amount from Morocco, from Casablanca. And so the production there, if we do the math on that, half of 26 is 13 can be transferred over from the Western Front. I think the Western Front production right now is at 27. So 27 minus 13 is 14. So we can send 13 over, and it's like, what do we want to build up? I want to build up this French unit, and I want to build up this advancing infantry unit. This costs 6, that costs 8. So we can actually only send 14. That costs 14. We actually had 2 extra that were left over here. So I think I had a total of 15 sent over. I guess I only sent over 12. I only sent over 12, meaning that we have 15 left for the Western Front. And it's like I kind of have to choose between sending Lend-Lease or building up this HQ. And I think as much as I want to send Lend-Lease over, It's like I kind of have to build up this theater HQ to get some of these other units on the move, right? So it's a slow build up right now over here in this sector, but it's like I want to send units to attack Tunisia as much as possible. Maybe it's unnecessary. I'm not really sure. But I'm thinking that may be the best course of action overall, is to advance onto Tunisia as quickly as possible, sooner rather than later if we can. So that's what I'm going to do over that. And then that's it for the allies. And then we can actually go ahead and start the file. We'll start by rolling the weather. The weather is going to be dry because it's the month of February, can either be mud or dry. So I'm going to go ahead and go with that. And let's go ahead and activate this HQ. I need 2 supreme moves to actually move it to Gibraltar, which is where it should be, so that it can operate at full efficiency over here in the Mediterranean. So I'm thinking maybe that's what we do. So then the other supreme move I'll move is move this HQ. I'm going to move it to Gibraltar. And the idea is to get it to Algeria as quickly as possible. I think that's the idea. So that's all we're going to do with the British over here in the Western Front, and deactivate it. It has its own supreme move, and then the other remaining 2 can move it to the Atlantic Ocean. And we'll send it. Actually, I may have to undo that last move. And actually what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to transfer this American HQ and move it to the north. That's what I'm going to do. And move it to Dover. That's what we'll do. So maybe on the next turn, we can actually do the supreme move. So I really wanted to send, I have 5 production points left over, and presumably another 5 are going to be lost to U-boat operations. Is there nothing we can do to build up more HQs? Not really. Is there any other ground units that we can build up? Again, I transferred 12 over here, so that leaves us with 15. And then those 15, one of them is spent on an HQ, and that's it. So yeah, unfortunately, there's really no other units to build up, so presumably another 400,000 tons of shipping were lost. I kind of want to see the stats on that. But I mean, here it is. Here are the stats. And I guess my calculation might be wrong. But it was based off of how many troops are being carried by those Liberty ships. Oh, okay, yeah, here we go. If we go to 42, yeah, no, I guess the figures are pretty correct. 700,000 were lost in November, 600,000 in October, 485,000 in September. All this is in 42, so the figures are actually pretty accurate. The figures started to go down in January and February, but they spiked up again in March. And I think immediately after, the U-boats sustained heavy casualties as well during those battles. So right now, 2 months back-to-back, 800,000 tons of supplies being lost. So that's it for the British. Actually, one more move I'm going to do with the British. Go ahead and activate this theater HQ, and I'm going to move this Western Desert Force, which is restricted. I'm going to move it to Tripoli so that it can protect the port against any Allied landing, or Axis landing rather, in North Africa. And then the other move I can do, it's not really the most efficient move, but I think I may have no choice, is try to get, we're trying to get in range of Tunisia. I think we can wait a little bit, although the road is clear. I mean, we could easily advance these units to Sfax. We have to be careful with a German counteroffensive, of course. So I don't want to send the British formations in a piecemeal manner. But I'm thinking what I'll do is go ahead and activate the 21st. And I'm going to move everything right here to the foot of Tunisia. We've already invaded Tunisia. We're passing this impassable strait, which I'm going to have trouble pronouncing that in French. Chot Djerid, I don't know if that's Tunisian. Chot Djerid, but it's another passable strait. And then go ahead and move the 10th right there. And then, unfortunately, this HQ, we have SVACs under our control, so this unit will be in sea supplies, presumably. But it's going to cost more in terms of road supplies and so on. But the idea is that we're in striking range of Tunisia, so that if we do decide to strike at Tunisia, we can. The only problem is that it's going to be unsupported combat. So the chances of us succeeding there are relatively slim, in my opinion. We'll switch over to the Soviets. I don't really see the Soviets launching any like notable counteroffensive right now, but I think maybe now would be a good time to maybe retake some of this lost territory is what I'm thinking. So I'm going to go ahead and activate Stavka. The weather is still snow, by the way. We have to kind of be prepared for German attack. So we do have to be kind of cognizant of that. But I'm thinking also, before we launch a counteroffensive, I'm going to save it for like the last few months. The last few moments that we do decide to launch a Soviet offensive. But I'm thinking now it's a good time to retake lost territory. So I'm going to advance some of these units forward. Advance the cavalry units forward. Advance this mech unit forward. So it's 3 strategic moves. And we're just trying to kind of like close the front line. I think, let's see, I can move this unit forward here. The situation is extremely vulnerable for the Soviets. That's the bottom line. So even advancing these 3 units forward, it does make some kind of a difference, but really not as much as you would expect. But I guess that's the nature. So that's 3 strategic moves. I may even undo this one here. We'll move a cavalry infantry unit here. No, I guess that move was already done. I got 2 more left. And the last 2 moves really need to be moved along this riverbank here in the south. So let me get this unit. 3, 4 like that, another like that, and that's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we've retaken some territory. So I can move this icon here. This is Soviet controlled. And basically the German line has kind of fallen back slightly. Yeah, there we go. So I'll go ahead and I'll probably delete these areas here because I guess for the sake of a front line, we'll leave it like that. But, you know, it's better to have a stable line than to have none at all, although the line is relatively thin and our armies are still quite vulnerable. That's kind of the main takeaway. Oh, and this area is contested like that. So I did decide to activate Stavka. I don't know if that was a wise move or not, but that's what we got. We'll switch over to the Axis now and see what the Axis got. I think my goal for this video file is probably just to do the 2 months. It's also getting a little darker, so I know that the lighting is not going to be as good. Actually, it's pretty good. It still looks really nice. So, you know, working on video editing, of course, is something that I want to improve upon, but I want to make sure the video quality is where it's at. For the Germans, it's a very simple turn for me. I'm just going to activate Army Group South, and the idea is to rotate. Of course, we're giving the Soviets time to build up their formations and their armies, but if I'm going to attack, I figure let's attack with a very powerful armored reserve first and foremost. I think that's the main idea. So I'll move an armored unit forward. I think we're good. I'll move another infantry unit forward as well. And then I can pull out another armored unit. I guess I'll put it here. Move one forward there. And then move an infantry unit there. Armored unit here. And I think that's it. Actually, this unit, I already moved it, so that's that. But it's a decent setup. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. I think it's pretty decent. And then deactivate Army Group South. Oh, and then I guess I'll go ahead and move Army Group North there and deactivate Army Group South and put it there in the rear. And that's that. That's it for this, the Germans on the Eastern Front. Now the Western Front, I can still activate OKH, and I'm thinking maybe like let me try to like cover the coast of southern France, move around some more units. I don't really have too much in terms of German reserves. I think I have to wait a little bit more time for more reinforcements to arrive. I mean, for example, all these military units arrive in May. But the idea is to have the entire southern coast of France protected in case the Allies do land. We want to be able to have at least the slightest chance of repulsing those landings. But the main priority, of course, is dislodging this British formation that we have here right now located in Ostende. And it's like that takes priority number one. And it's like unless I have other militia units that I can use, I don't really think I have much that I can use at the moment to fix that problem. But I'm going to go ahead and activate OKH. And then we're just going to advance some of these German units. Unfortunately, I think this Bulgarian unit needs to protect the Bulgarian coast. This unit, yeah, I'm actually going to move it into, whatchamacallit, into Yugoslavia. So that's 2 strategic moves. And then I guess I can, so there's 2 strategic moves on the west. I have 4 more that I can move around in the west. And I'm thinking, what else can I do, right? I don't really see much else that I can do because I don't really have the manpower for it. I got like another militia unit up here, some infantry, another militia unit over there. Kind of needed to stay there. I guess what I'll go ahead and do is move this unit by rail 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like that. So that's 3 strategic moves. And then the other one I'm thinking about doing is moving the 65th all the way to the southern France as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's 1, 2, 3. And then I did 4, 5. Oh, and then the last one I can do. Oh, I gotta move these Italian units to Italy. We can move this Italian unit. I guess I'll leave it there, but I'm not sure what to do about Greece. You know, I have this extra HQ here, and it's like, unfortunately, the Yugoslavians did cut off our supplies there, and I got this Italian army here. I'm thinking probably want to move this Italian army back to Italy, ideally, but we have to move it through a body of water that we control. And so thankfully this Yugoslavian unit is out of supplies, so I can actually move it to Tirana, because we've lost all these, we've lost the Ionian Sea, so that's no bueno. So yeah, I did 1, 2, you know, 3, 4, 5. Only got 1 more strategic move left. And I'm thinking the last one that I want to do is probably move this HQ. I kind of want to move everything in one gusto, actually. Yeah, but like there's clearly a priority to protect as many areas as we can. And yeah, I probably don't want to abandon Greece just yet. So this HQ, leaving this HQ there in that sector is actually not a terrible idea. I can actually move it back to Sofia. It's not a terrible idea overall, I don't think. Probably kind of a redundant move, but I'm going to go ahead and move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Move it to Sofia like that. And then that way we kind of have somewhat of a reserve HQ in that area. And that's going to be it for OKH. And that's the first fortnight. And now if we switch to the next fortnight, switch to the Allies, we'll see how it goes now. Okay, yeah, we're doing well. I think the British are going to pass. They don't really have any HQs available at the moment. Then the Soviets do have an opportunity to attack, but I'm thinking we want to play the long game and build in order to exploit a weakness against the Ostende. And so the idea is, we for the entire campaign, we like lost this entire sector. I think we should consider attacking this sector if we can, but we're going to need a very powerful armored reserve in order to exploit the front. I mean, we have the manpower. We just need to learn how to concentrate it, and that's going to be the key for the Red Army. Everything here around Moscow is highly concentrated, but we're going to have to learn how to attack other sectors with not as many good units. And to compensate for like the inadequacy of our units, most of them are level 3 infantry. We need to compensate that with stronger guard units, which are all committed to the defense, so they're not available for attacks elsewhere. And I'm thinking one of the things that we could consider doing is upgrading the Soviet army, which is a really, really powerful rule. If I go to the diplomatic events, we haven't had one in a while, but one of the diplomatic events that the Red Army has is to upgrade the Soviet buildup. And there's a few conditions that need to be met. One of the conditions is that all Soviet units are in play on map and all HQs are at full strength. So, in other words, that's a good goal to aim for example, like by the end of the winter period. Even if we can't launch a successful operation, we have to it's automatically activated. Reduce Soviet reserve PPs to 0. Oh, and the Soviets also have to save 100 PPs, 100 production points. So we have a lot to build if we want to initiate that. I think I'm going to go for it. We're in February. We have March, April, May. We have still 3 solid months. And I'm wondering if the Soviets have just enough to build up. Presumably they don't. I don't think we're going to be able to build it up, unfortunately, but we can try. And so I think we're going to just try to build up the entire Soviet force pool. Even if we can't achieve that goal, and the upgrade is notable because we have to wait another army or wait another season before it's fully upgraded. But the shock armies are triple fire, allowing us to launch deadly offensive operations, triple fire offensively. The mech units fire double fire, basically additional Soviet shock armies. And then that's exactly what we want. I said additional Soviet shock armies, but I meant to say Soviet tank armies. And that's exactly what we want to see and want to have. So you can think of it as like upgrading the Soviet military to T-34-85s, basically, and having a tank force that is a very, very technologically advanced, superior to that of the Wehrmacht, possibly. And so if we want to achieve that in, like, say, winter 43, we need SA in effect for one complete season, and that may be the summer 43 is what I'm hoping for. But it all comes down to production, and I don't think the Red Army has the production to build up everything. I mean, these units are costly. Here there's 6 of them, plus the mech units. There's 5 mech, so that's 6 by 8, plus another 5 by 6. That's 30. 6 by 8 is 48. That's 78. Plus the 2 infantry, you're looking at 86. And then we also would need to build up all the HQs. So I think that's like 106. Plus we need to save up. We need we would need about 200 production points. And let's see, March, April, May. I think it's March, April, May. Uh, 3 months of production at 70 production points, or 65 rather, adds up to about 180 production points. And it's like, I think we just barely don't have enough to pull it off, which is a dang shame because this would be the perfect moment to do it. So I'm going to try. We'll see if it goes. But it comes down to Lend-Lease. I can do the math on that exactly, right? I kind of already did. It's 48 plus 30 plus another 8, 86, plus building up all the HQs. I guess I won't count that. plus we need another 100. It's 186. And we have March, April, May. We have 3 months of production available. It may be possible if we do have Lend-Lease. So hold on, I guess it's times 3. It's going to be minus, let's say, 65. Minus 65 times 3 minus another, like, say 10. Plus 100. Oh no, that is 86. If it's negative, I think it's suggesting that it is possible. Plus 20. I think we're short of 7 because we have 1, 2 HQs to build up at the moment. I think we're short of 7 production points to pull it off, and that's presuming that we have very good die roll. Even if we did have excellent die roll, I don't think it's possible, unfortunately, but it's something to aim for, and so I'm going to go for it anyways. Anyways, that's kind of some interesting thought. But as far as operations go, I guess that means that we're not going to attack. I think we're going to hold off our plans to attack the German army and simply wait, and play the long term, focus on the operational defense, and then make sure that Moscow is completely fortified, and then we're going to build up elsewhere along the front, and I think that might be the game changer that we're hoping for. So in other words, this is the second fortnight, if I'm not mistaken. The Soviets are going to pass. We'll switch over to the Axis, and I think the Axis are also going to pass as well, because the production was already spent on the last month. I go ahead and attack Kamensko. See how this battle goes. So it's a defend. No hits. We needed double fire against double defense to score 1 hit, or rather, we needed 2 hits, 2 single fire die hits to score the hits that we needed there. The British are in range. I think the best thing to do right now is to consider withdrawing. We have 4 supreme moves, and I'm thinking maybe we should try to withdraw from this position. I don't think the British, unless they blitz, which they could do, even if they do decide to blitz. Yeah, as long as we don't lose Bizerte, I think we're okay. The worry I have is that it is possible that we do lose Bizerte. If the British do decide to blitz, they could put this area under siege supplies, and if they do, then it's no bueno. So, I don't know. Do we withdraw? Do we defend? What's the best course of action here? I'm not really sure. But we don't want to lose Bizerte. If the British do attack, we're going to have to do a massive operational withdrawal. And I don't think I am interested in doing that. So I think I'm going to gamble it. We got to roll for weather. It is mud. But I am going to go ahead and withdraw. Oh, I got a message here. One moment. I think I got to see if I can mute this. Excuse me. Let me see if I can temporarily mute this. Oh, I don't know. But let me see what I can do here. I'm thinking the best course of action is to withdraw from Tunisia. And we've got 4 supreme moves. And this would be 2 supreme moves in the Mediterranean front. We can afford it. They're going to be strategic moves. And it's like, might as well. So I think we're going to fall back. I'm thinking, and it is a major port, right? So we can move 2 units, right? So let's do that. Basically abandoning, we're basically abandoning, abandoning North Africa. We'll fall back, I think, to Rome. Yeah, I'm not really sure what the best withdrawal really is. But yeah, I guess we'll fall back to Rome. And then I'm also going to pull back this Africa core, which is now permanently disrupted. So it's not really the most useful HQ, but it's still a reserve HQ. It's better than nothing. And I think we're going to just pull that unit out. All right, so there's that. I guess I'll get rid of that just for the sake of intelligence. And then now we can actually do the production. And let's see what the production is for the Axis. We're going to reduce the entire Mediterranean front production to 0. So we're going to reduce that to 0. That means that the Western Front gains 15. So we're now at 47 production in the Western Front. I believe that's correct compared to the... it's very similar to the 1943 scenario of the Western Front. And I kind of want to verify that. If we go to the different scenarios, Operation Husky, I think the Axis production is actually at 73. So no, it is actually a little different from that. I thought it was 37. It's actually very different. But according to what I calculated, it's 47. Now we still have Tunisia under our control, so it would have been actually 46. That 73 difference, I'm not exactly sure how they calculate that. I think they include some production from Greece and so forth, but they don't include production from the Western Front, or is it all the Western Front and the Eastern Front both? I'm not entirely sure. No, it's the entire Western Front. So I'm not sure where the Axis get that extra production from. I guess if you look at the map, some of that production might be coming from... I'm not sure how they actually calculate it. Oh, I guess, is there a handicap? I'm not sure. Oh, these are the allies. Never mind. It's 39 for the Axis. Never mind. Never mind. Okay, so that makes a lot more sense. So I have it as 47 right now. And I'm not sure if that's 100% correct. Presumably, some of the production in the West is missing. That's kind of my understanding of how they've done it. But I'm going to go with what we have here. And I believe it's correct. It was initially... Hold on, if I do that one more time, according to my calculations, the production is at 32. And then minus 10 brings it at 42, minus 5 brings it to 47. And then presumably whatever is left over is going to be transferred over to the Eastern Front in the summer of 43. I think that may be the difference. Now, I'm not sure what that 1 production point difference is coming from. I have no idea. Or 2 production point difference. Because it's at 37. Tunisia is 1. I'm not sure. Maybe I have to recalculate everything. But I think because of this game... I'm not going to go ahead and do that. It would be a very long way to calculate the whole process. Yeah, so it already got dark. This is one of the things I was trying to avoid with the video. But it already got dark. I could turn on the lighting in my room. Actually, I can turn on the lamp here. So that might be a little bit better. Let me see if the lighting improved. It's okay. It's still pretty dark. I can turn on this setting here. That's very, very, very bright. It's a little too bright, I think. But I think this is a little too dark. What if I put it here? I think that lighting is decent. I think the lighting there is decent. Yeah, that seems all right. I want to make sure the lighting is pretty good, though, for the sake of the video. Now, I could try to calculate the entire German calculation of production all over again. Maybe it's worth our time to kind of verify everything. But it's going to take a minute if I do decide to calculate everything all over again for the Axis. But let's go ahead and do that. I just want to make sure that the calculation is like 100% accurate. Starting with France, it's 14, including Tunisia, which is still under Axis control, Baltic states. Well, we're not going to include the Eastern Front production, right? Strictly Western Front production. Belgium is 2. Bulgaria is 1. Czechoslovakia is 3. Danzig is 2. Denmark is 2. We're not including Finland. Germany is 56 plus the resources is 8. And then am I including Eastern Front Germany? I think so. I don't think it matters. Or I guess I won't include that from the Eastern Front. Greece is 2. Holland is 4. Hungary, I think is, I'm not sure if that is East Germany or West Germany. I think that is East Germany as well. Hungarian production. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I guess I'm going to include it right now. Iraq is no, that's not it. Italy is 8. Norway is 1. Poland is a total of 5. Romania is a total of 9. And then Yugoslavia is 1. And what's this 14? Where does 14 come from? I think that was France, right? I have it calculated twice. So let's see what we got here. I calculate 118. So again, it's France, Baltic states. No, we're not including that. Belgium is 2. Bulgaria is 1. Czechoslovakia is 322. 56 plus 8 plus another 2 plus another, oh, I had another 4 from Holland. Another 5 from Hungary. Another 8 from Italy, 1 from Norway, 5 from Poland, 9 from whatchamacallit, Romania, and then 1 from Yugoslavia. Yeah, it's 123. And then we're going to subtract 54 to the Eastern Front. And then I think we're going to subtract 10 that was transferred over. That puts us at 59. And then we got to look at the penalties as well. If we look at Winter 42, the penalty for the Axis is minus 15. So we got to subtract another 15 there. And I think this is, apparently it's 44. But I didn't include, yeah, so according to my calculations, it's 44. I don't know where the other 3 are coming from. I don't know if there's another territory that the Axis have conquered. I don't know if that's simply a miscalculation on my end. I don't know if it's coming from Finland or if it's coming from Sweden. I didn't include Sweden. There was actually another 2 from Sweden. And then there's apparently 1 more that I'm missing. And I have no idea where it's coming from. I have no idea. Did I include Greece? I think I did. I think this 2 is Greece here. And right under Holland, yeah. And did I include, oh, I didn't include Eastern Front Germany. So yeah, no, I calculated at 47. I calculated as a total of 47. So if we do minus 15, minus 54, minus 10, should add up to 47. Adds up to 45. Oh, plus the other 2 from Sweden. And then it is 47. So it's minus 54, minus 10, minus 15. 47. I'm curious as to why it was 39. Presumably because they gain 5 more production, but then they lose another 10 transferred over to the Eastern Front, and adds up to 42. And then that 3 difference, I know that they lose Tunisia, that's 1, and I guess Greece was ignored, and it adds up to 39. Okay, got it. All right, so our production is correct. Yeah, I appreciate your patience in allowing me to verify that. So then what else can I say? We've withdrawn out of North Africa. I think we're able to do the production now, which is a total of 47. It's nice and strong. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to activate OKW. We're going to go ahead and activate, I think these HQs need to be really built up. We are in February, or in March now officially. I think so. That was 30. We have now 17 production points left over. So I built up an infantry there. Now we're down to whatchamacallit, down to 13, building up 3. Now we're down to 10. And I think the only thing left to build up is this armored units. Infantry, let's build up this infantry, and we have 6 production points left over. It's pretty clear that I want to build up as much militia as I can. And then is there another militia unit that I can build up? I'm sure there is. There was one over here, right? Yeah, let's build up this. Boom, like that. All right, so that's the game plan. So we're now in an operational position to attack the British, which is really important. And then as far as the Eastern Front production, let's go ahead and focus on that as well. We have 92 production points on the Eastern Front, which is super awesome. Let's go ahead and build up as much as we can. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 times 4 is a big number. It's almost 80. I think it's 72. We're at 72, so we have 20 production points left over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. I think that's everything that we're going to build up. And it's like, I'm pretty sure I want to build up the HQs as well. I don't want to have I don't want to have any understrength OKW. So I might cancel some of these armored builds. I might have to cancel 2 armored builds. Or cancel 2 infantry builds, rather. I had another armored build here as well that I wanted to build up. I guess we'll cancel this guy. That leaves us with 16. And then I'll cancel an infantry build. That leaves us with 20. And we'll just build up all the HQs, rather. So that's it. We'll switch over to, I think, presumably Soviet production will come next. And the Soviet production is going to be at 65. There's no Lend-Lease this time around. What we're going to go ahead and do is start building up reserves. So in order to do that, I'm thinking let's probably build up these 3 mech units. Each one costs 6 apiece, so that's 18, plus another 3 of these. In fact, try to build up as many as we can. Maybe even build them all up. I'll build up 1 HQ, that's 10. We're now down to 55. Then there's 18 plus another, 24? 18 plus 24 is kind of a tricky number. I think it's 42, if I'm not mistaken. That's going to be 22 plus 20 is 42. So this is 42 production build. Plus the other 10, that puts us at 52. So we have 13 production points left over. Let's go ahead and build up. I'm thinking probably want to keep building up our infantry. That's like a must build. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 79, 10, 11, 12. Actually 7, 8, 9. And then we can build up one more like that. There we go. That's 13. And so 13 plus 52 is 65. All right. And just like that, we've been able to build up and actually start assembling some kind of offensive capability on the Eastern Front. I think that's the idea. I'm going to go ahead and put another mech unit here. Probably another armored unit up there in the north. And I think we're going to try to exploit the north. That's kind of the game plan first. So we got, I think I got, what, two, I put two versus, yeah, we got plenty of firepower in the north. And then over here, I'll go ahead and put 2 more units at Stalingrad. And then this other unit will go in Saratov, or maybe I can put it already at the front line and put it in Tambov, and just might as well just plop it there. But we definitely need more armor, more firepower, and all the likes in order to achieve strategic victory against the German army. We'll switch over to Allied production. And let's see how it goes. The weather is going to be clear now. And let's see what the production is like. We still have 7 die for the Mediterranean front. That's 13 plus another 7 is 20. We have 23 production. So let's go ahead and build this unit up. That's going to cost 15. And then this unit is going to cost us another 5. So that puts us at 20 altogether. And we have 3 left over. And it's like if I transfer 6 from the Western Front, I have 9. I can build that unit up. And I think now the British are in range to strike at Tunisia. I think that the Axis have left us with a relatively simple victory. So we don't really have to do too much in terms of production costs over there in that sector. And then with 21 production points, it's pretty clear that I'm going to build up, I think I'm going to go ahead and build up this unit first. And then, oh, actually, I guess I'll cancel that. We probably should have it ready in case we need to withdraw. And then with the other 10, I was going to build up, this HQ more, but I'm thinking let's try to give the Soviets that extra release that they desperately need, and we can kind of take our time over here. So we'll start with the British operations, British and American operations, and I think we're going to blitz. Oh no, we're not going to blitz, but we're going to send our armored formation straight into Tunisia, like so. And then go ahead and deactivate this HQ. And leave it in Sfax in case the British... Yeah, I think the Axis can only launch amphibious invasions into major ports, right? I have to read up on that. Let me verify that about Mediterranean front operations. But special rules between ports or sea invasions... Oh, gosh. What happened here? Oh, I think I opened up a chatbot. Sea invasions between Mediterranean fronts are not allowed, but sea invasion into and out of a Mediterranean front port must start from a major port and land in a port in a different front. I think it can happen. I think it can happen. Regardless, I'm going to go ahead and activate this theater HQ, and we're going to go ahead and move up this American unit forward. And if the American unit can advance a little bit, oh, we can move it even 3 areas forward. That's kind of badass. That's super badass. But basically, we've established supplies. The Axis, the Allies are now going to have... All these areas are under Allied control now, right? Including all these roads. I think the only area, even Tebessa is under Allied control because it's part of Algeria. And so all these roads are under Allied control, so that means our units are in supplies, regardless of how the Axis, do their operations. And so that's a really good move. And now we can strike at Tunisia. It's unsupported combat, but it's going to be in limited supplies is the bottom line. And then I guess we'll go ahead and do that operation first. Or do I want to go ahead and do Soviet operations? I guess we'll go ahead and do the British operations first. See how it goes. The Axis score no hits. We have we need to score. They have triple defense because they're in a fortified city. We score 2 hits with the armor, and another hit with the mech, and just like that, we've taken Tunisia. Excellent. We can add that to the Axis or Allied supplies. Bring that up to 26. And then the Axis are going to go down by 1, down to 46. Something else to point out is that now that the Mediterranean front has fallen, the theater has closed. All the rules regarding Mediterranean front basically disappear, and you can treat it like the Western front. So I can delete these icons here, and all that production that the British had on the Western front are now going to receive the production from the Mediterranean front. So what does that mean? The 35 or 36 that we have on the Mediterranean front is now going to be transferred over to the Western front. So first I'll transfer the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then that's going to go up by 10. And then I'm going to transfer the remaining 30. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And now Allied production is a solid 63 production points, which is really awesome. So there's that. So the Allies are making good headway in the West. There could have been a decisive battle in Tunisia, but I think the Axis decided to withdraw and play it kind of a strategic defense. I don't know if that was a good move or not, but I just felt like the Africa Corps didn't have the resources to defend North Africa all by itself, and I didn't want to lose it. I'd rather have it defend and fight another day in the Italian mainland. So speaking of which, we are now going to switch over to the Soviets. We got a roll for weather on the Eastern Front, and it is mud. So that window of opportunity for a Soviet counteroffensive is limited right now. And if it's mud, it's actually the Axis initiative at the moment. I think the Axis are going to pass. There's really nothing we can do. I think we'll just go ahead and activate OKH and do operations on the Western Front a bit more. So, for example, do I want to withdraw out of Greece? Probably not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I guess 10. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to put it over here. That's 2 supreme moves. We have 4 left. We kind of have to establish somewhat of a rapid defense of this sector as soon as possible. So, and I got to figure out like what's the best way to do that. I think I'm going to move this Italian unit all the way down here to Reggio. So that's 1 supreme move. I need more HQs also. So I think I'm going to move Army Group G, or maybe Army Group C rather. 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. So how many supreme moves have I done so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have 2 more left. I think we're gonna go 5 and then 6, like so. I think that's what I want to do. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm actually going to undo this move over here. And I'm thinking, I'm not sure what the best move is actually. There's got to be a better move to do. I kind of just want to have another HQ in the sector. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think that's what I want to do. And that's it. Just all the operations in the south. And now, also here in the north, we can go ahead and attack this position. And I'm going to attack in waves. I'm going to put this HQ here. And we're going to attack with mostly infantry and this mech unit. We're going to move this mech unit first. Then this infantry is going to move in. Another infantry is going to move in. Another infantry is going to move in. And then I guess this unit can go here. But we're going to attack with a bunch of infantry first and foremost. That's the kind of the first game plan I have. Before I decide to make another attack with armor. So we're going to attack with air power. I think our airstrike is still double fire. Let me verify that. Let's see here. The axis on the Western Front is still double fire for... Oh, it's actually single fire starting in the winter of 43. It's actually single fire. Which is a dang shame. So that means summer 42 was winter fire, was double fire. Winter 42 is now single fire. Excuse me. So this round of combat is going to be predominantly single fire. But we have to contest this area. And so let's see how it goes. We roll the dice. Air power scores no hits. The British have a lot of double fire. 1, 2, 3, 4. They score 6 hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits, just like that. And so yeah, we are actually pretty exposed. But that's all we got. 6 hits for the Axis in March 43. Is suffering 6 hits. That's another 120,000 casualties. And now we do get to retaliate. The battle's not over. Oh, the battle's not over yet. See if we can score some lucky hits. We scored 1 hit against the British, which I'm going to inflict it on the Canadian. Alright, that's it. I think the British have an opportunity to counterattack. We are now going to switch back to the British, or actually we're going to switch over to the Soviets, see what the Soviets want to do. I think the Soviets are going to pass this turn because of the mud. Now we move on to the next fortnight and see what the Western Allied forces do. I think the Axis, the Allies should consider attacking. I think it's not a bad idea. I mean, the Axis have, what is that? 6, 7 dice, and the Allies have 12, 13. They have twice the amount of dice. Presumably, we can score twice the amount of damage. Maybe not. I think the British are still going to hold the line and not counterattack because we do have also naval supremacy as well. That's another rule that came into effect. So we do have naval supremacy. The Middle Seaway is under Allied control now. So we could consider blitzing. And if we successfully blitz and wipe out the Axis there, it's going to be really hard for the Axis to launch another counterattack. I say we go for it. Let's see how it goes. And we also have double air support. We have air support too. So we're going to blitz. It means that our chances of withdrawing are completely gone. But I think that's what we want to do. Is try to keep the pressure on the Axis if we can. So let's see how this battle goes. This battle may win or lose the fighting here. The Axis roll. They score one more hit. And now the British are going to roll. Okay. They score 3 hits. Very nice. That's exactly what we needed. And now we're doing the blitz phase with air support. There's a good chance that the Allies can break through. The Axis roll, scoring no hits. The British score 4 hits. It's game over. Oh my gosh. And they do. Jeez. They wipe out the Axis in a decisive victory. Super decisive win for the Allies there. They basically wiped out, oh my gosh, they wiped out an entire column of German units. Let's do the math on that. Each unit is 3.5, so there was 4 of them at 3.5, plus one of them was at 4.5, but it's 3.5 times 4 is 14. I think it's 15 altogether. Right? If I calculate that correctly, 3.5 times 4 is 14, plus one more is 15. Super decisive win for the British. Devastating losses for the Axis. I mean, the entire column, 22,000 times 15, times 15 rather, is what? 330,000 Axis casualties. Really bad. And the Allies lost presumably only around 30,000 troops. Something along those levels. That's what I calculated. So that was it for the British. We got to roll for weather on the Eastern Front. And the weather is snow. I'm thinking if the Soviets want to attack, now is a good time to strike. Now would be the best time to strike with the Soviets. And let's see what the Soviets can do. Maybe we can do like one last little blitz operation here. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to activate the Western HQ because I want maximum air support for this operation. We're gonna blitz. We're gonna strike here. I'm gonna move in a shock army, pull out the armored units, and then go ahead and activate Stavka. And actually, there's not really many other operations that the Soviets can really do at the moment, so we won't activate Stavka actually. But we're gonna blitz with the Western HQ. Maybe we can also rotate some other combat units. So like we can rotate that unit. These are units in range. Go ahead and like move this guy up here. I think this mech unit can go over here. Army unit can go over here. Move up another infantry unit, or maybe put the armored unit over there. And I guess we want to advance all these units, right? Try to set up a strong defense. I think I'm going to hold off on that just for a little while longer. Yeah, we're going to hold off on that. I'm going to move up this other infantry unit over there. And then what else? Moved up those 2 armored units. This armored unit can go over here. Yeah, that's a good setup. Alright, and then any other rotations that I want to do. Ideally, there's more that I do want to do. I'm thinking like maybe put another mech unit in there. That's what I'm thinking. And really beefing up those positions. Actually, what I'll do instead, I think it's a decent setup. It's not the most ideal setup. But I'm going to pull out, yeah, I think it's a decent setup. But there's obviously a lot of room for improvement that we can do. Actually, what I'm going to do is instead of putting that mech unit in there, I'm going to move up this 24th in there instead. And then I'm going to pull out this shock army. What the heck? There's 2 at full strength? Oh no, if there are 2 at full strength, Then I'm going to move this unit in, pull out the shock army, put the 24th over here, right? Yeah, there you go. And then we're going to blitz, yeah, and then we're going to put an airstrike marker right there. And let's see how this battle goes. So let's see how it goes. Maybe we're turning the tide against the Axis once and for all. I'm going to delete that icon there. So the airstrike scoring 2 hits. Excellent. Really makes a difference. The Panzer Army is going to roll. They score 4 hits. And just like that, they kind of stop the German vulnerability. Oh, and then the infantry score yet another 2 hits. So the Soviets get slaughtered. Unfortunately, the Soviets get absolutely slaughtered. They lose 6. And then now the Soviets do get to retaliate with whatever is left from whatever survived the initial onslaught. And they only score 1 hit against the Germans. So the Soviet air power did a great job. Right, so the Axis lost 3. But the Soviet casualties were pretty bad. And so, yeah, we kind of now need that mech, actually. Right now, we desperately need that mech unit. And we don't have it available. So I'm going to send this infantry unit forward. That's one of the mistakes. I'll pull out this shock army. Pull out this army as well. We'll put the cavalry unit in there. And I think that's a pretty decent setup. I'll put the shock army will move here. Tank army move there. Move this unit to Moscow. And I think that's a decent setup. But of course, I don't feel very confident launching another round of attack. If we had full strength armored units, we could have definitely attacked and achieved something, but we don't. So unfortunately, I think this is going to be a bit of a dud. I'm not going to launch another round of combat. And we're kind of switching back to defensive operations. So that's it for the Soviets. We'll now switch over to the Axis. And the Axis line is still holding. The Germans could potentially even launch a counterattack. I think the Germans do want to launch a counterattack. But first and foremost, I think I want to launch an attack over here and put pressure on the British before this operation goes to crap. So I'm going to launch another round of attack, and I'm also sending in the SS. And then I'm going to move in this tank, and then I'm going to go ahead and activate OKW was already activated last time. I think I can go ahead and activate OKW a second time. And we're going to move this unit forward in there as well. And then I need more infantry. I need more units to protect Caen, to repulse another British operation there. I guess I'll go ahead and move this HQ to Caen. And then, let's see, what else do we got here? I'm actually thinking we'll go ahead and move this unit here. This unit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 3 strategic moves that I moved. And I got 1 more left, and I don't really have any reserve. The Axis are suffering from a serious reserve problem at the moment. And it's like, after all, we did need to send that SS formation over to the Western Front after all. I think the only other move I can do, just trying to find some other unit available. I have this militia unit that I can move from Rome. I kind of don't want to do that. But like, we need more infantry. We need more ground units. I think it's just going to take time to build up, unfortunately. So So yeah, one more strategic move. I don't really know what it should be. I don't really see any other reserves available anywhere on the Western Front. Like if I could, I would move like a Hungarian unit or something like that over. But I don't see anything at the moment. This Italian units probably should move. You know, we don't want the Allies landing in Albania, but I'm going to leave it there. We need units to protect the Adriatic Sea. Desperately need to start protecting the Adriatic Sea coast. So yeah, the situation is pretty bad overall for the Axis. Now, this Yugoslavian partisan, I think, can disappear whenever it wants. And it can reappear wherever it wants. I think I'm going to go ahead and move this unit over here to Dubrovnik. And just make sure that that area is protected. If the Allies do land in Split, we're going to have to assemble more formations to counterattack. And I don't really have an extra unit available at the moment to even contest that port. But even if they do, I mean, it's not going to be under their control. So that's the one advantage that we do have. So yeah, that's it. But I'm going to activate OKW twice now, which is kind of a big no-no, but I think we don't have much of a choice. And because of the mud or winter operations, I think we've bought ourselves a little bit of time over here, which is kind of nice. But I'm thinking, let's go ahead and activate Army Group Center and just do a rotation of infantry. 2 infantry out, 2 infantry in, and ideally we are counterattacking somehow. Ideally we do launch some kind of counterattack operation. Oh, okay, no, there's too much armor over there. But we can start launching attacks in other sectors as well. Now, if we blitz, I could potentially counterattack here. It's kind of like a 50-50 split over there. But I think the bottom line is that we could use another fortress unit in the sector. I don't think the sector can hold out forever. We kind of need to fortify this position and consider falling back with another fortress. So, I don't know, maybe I swap out an armor for a fortress, something along these lines. But we got to figure out like what the plan is as far as attacking and everything goes. I'm actually going to, I think I am going to blitz here. And I'm going to move more armored unit in there. And then, yeah, we're going to do another swap. And then I think we'll do another attack with Army Group South here. Pull out 2 infantry and advance 2 armor. But yeah, the bottom line is that if we don't take Moscow, if we don't take another position, the chances of us succeeding are pretty slim, I think, in the long term is what I'm seeing. I just don't see... Oh, hold on. There's too much armor in here. Another infantry. And this armored unit can go over here. This is blitzing. And I think all the armor that we have is committed. So we're attacking. I'm going to put the airstrike markers over here. Another airstrike marker over here. These are disrupted. Oops. They're also disrupted because of the winter operations. And this is going to be the last turn before the weather changes on us. So it's like if we want to change the outcome of the war, we have to take Moscow, and Moscow seems pretty dug in, if you ask me. So let's see how it goes. Airstrike rolls, scores no hits. Soviets roll, scoring nasty hits. Oh my gosh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Scoring 7 hits against the Germans. I just don't think there's really any hopes that the Germans can break through the Soviet line. I think it's pretty much impenetrable at this point. I think the Soviets have successfully defended Moscow. The casualties are just getting too high. We did score a couple of hits there. Double defense though. Soviets scored 2 hits against the infantry. Panzers roll. We score 1 more hit. Okay. But maybe it's not impossible. I don't know. This is going to be deactivated. This is going to blitz. This is still disrupted though. And then I'm going to pull out these 2 armored units, like so. And put another infantry unit in here, another infantry unit in there. And then I guess these 2 infantry units will go out over here. And then I'm going to put these 2 over here. And then I think this armored unit can probably go there. And that's it. Now we could try to attack on this sector as well. Maybe that's what we have to do. Take advantage of the summer period and exploit these positions a little bit better. But we sustained terrible losses at Mozhaisk. Let's do the airstrike here at Kaluga. Two more hits for the Soviets. Armor rolls, scoring very nice hits. Alright, so we did score 2 more hits. Okay, so I think the Soviets sustained, what, total of 9 casualties. The Germans sustained, I think, a total of 14. It's been a busy month. I mean, in total, 29 casualties is what, like 1 million casualties? 638,000 casualties, so it's pretty bad. All right, and that's that. I think that's it for the Axis operations. On the Eastern Front, we're doing the operation here on the Western Front with air support. And let's see what we can do here. It's really up to this battle. I mean, if the British succeed here, it's going to be game over for the Axis. So let's see. Something tells me, though, they're not going to succeed. They have a lot of double fire, though. Okay, they score 4 hits. 3, 4, but the Germans can retaliate. Triple fire with the Panzer, SS Panzer formations, scoring 1 hit. And we score 3 hits. 4 hits altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the British did sustain some losses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, the British, strictly British, sustained 6. So yeah, the 2-to-1 in terms of casualties for Allies versus the Axis. The Axis did overall sustain heavier losses, but they still seem to have kind of established the front line to some capacity. So that's it. That's going to be it for the Axis. We'll end the turn here. We'll now switch over to the month of April. We'll start with Axis production, which is going to be 47 on the Western Front. We're going to build up 1 HQ, build up this HQ. We have 27 left. It's pretty clear to me that what we have to build up is our cadre. We also can look at the setup sheet to see what reinforcements we get. We actually had some reinforcements. That are now coming in greater volume. April 43, we actually were receiving some really nice reinforcements. I'm going to go ahead and put Army Group B, I'm not sure where I want to put Army Group B. Presumably we'll put another one in Belgrade. I'm going to put an armored formation over there as a reserve, and then put it with another infantry. And I think it's time that we ground the paratrooper units and make them into elite ground troops. I didn't want to ground any paratroopers, but I think, unfortunately, inevitably, I think I have to in this game. I'm going to put one in Vienna. But we have 3 German units in case the Allies do land and split. So there's that. And then I'll put this HQ, this armored unit in the Western Front in Paris. I could also put it in Amsterdam. Probably better if I put it in Amsterdam. But maybe because of a strategic reserve, I'll probably put it over there in Paris. It's still in range. It's also near this Oberkommando des Wehrmacht, or des, basically the Western Front. I'm not sure. I think it's Vestia, so it could be that. I'm going to put this cavalry unit, oddly enough, I'm going to put it on the Eastern Front, actually, because I want the Germans to have another cavalry unit. It's going to be useful during mud weather, so I'm going to deploy it on the Eastern Front, actually. That's all we have for reinforcements for the Axis. 47 production points is a lot. We still have a lot to build. 27, actually, now that we've built up the other amounts. And I think it's that we dedicate what we have here to trying to build up some of these reserves. We can build up this infantry unit, or mech unit rather. We could put it in Paris. We could try to use it to fortify the situation over here in Italy. I think that might take priority. That leaves us with 18 production points. Let's go ahead and build up this HQ. That leaves us with 8. And then we'll just go ahead and make sure we're building up Axis infantry and Italian infantry both. Probably put this in Naples, I'm thinking. This German unit is extremely vulnerable, and it's like I kind of wanted to get it replaced as soon as possible. But we're trying to build up more reinforcements as much as we can, and this is all we got so far. So it's not overall a great setup, but it is functional. It does have some functionality to it for sure. I guess I'll put this at level 2 over here instead. Yeah. We also got to be careful with this, like a flank here in the north, right? Like if we lose Genova, that's a big no-no. So we got to be careful with that as well. So unfortunately, we need to build up a lot more reinforcements, and it's going to take more time. I know that the Axis are receiving reinforcements for the month of April and May. Like a lot of reinforcements are coming in. Month of June. Pretty much every month moving forward, the Axis are going to receive a buttload of reinforcements, which we desperately need to fortify the Western Front. But for now, the main priority here is Ostende. That still takes the #1 priority. And it's kind of hard to attack when we don't have any reserves, which is a serious problem. It's a serious, strategically very vulnerable situation. I think I may even transfer some German infantry over to the Western Front to help remedy the problem a little bit. Especially after the casualties we sustained. I think it makes sense. Eastern Front production is a little bit more straightforward. We're going to build this guy up. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We're at 56. Then it's 66, 76. What is that? 84. 92, I think, with that. Oh, and we got to build up this OKH. Let's go ahead and build that up, actually, and I'll reduce this HQ by 1. But yeah, we have serious problems over there as well in terms of reinforcements. We'll now switch over to the Soviets. The Soviet production definitely took a beating with the last turn, but we seem to be somewhat stable. So let's go ahead and make sure everything is kind of being built up. Build up this HQ. That's going to be 10. We also got some Lend-Lease coming in, so we got 4. So we're at 69 production. Now we're down to 59. 56. 53, 50, 48, 46, 42, 40, 36, 33, 30, 26, and let's see what else can we build up. This is 16 plus another one right here. That's going to be 20, 26 like that. So we're almost building up the entire Soviet force pool, which is really good to see. I'm going to put this armored unit here. Another armored unit in Stalingrad. Main concentration is there at Stalingrad. I think these other two units can go in Saratov. I guess as a bonus, I'll put another infantry unit in Krasnodar, like so. Ideally, it's a cavalry unit. Or I guess I may even put it over here in Batumi, like so. No, it's fine. I think we can leave it in Krasnodar. But we are building up some kind of Soviet reserve. And the idea is to take the fight to the German army in 43. And I think the Soviets have a fairly high chance of pulling it off as well, which is really cool to see. So that's it for Soviet production. And then I think we'll stop the log file here. Thank you so much for watching. But we've done all the production. I think we did the Western Ally production as well. Did we? Maybe not. Hold on, I have to actually go and do the Western Ally production as well. Yeah, we did not. So let's go ahead and do that. Their production is now at 63. We're going to now transfer some over to the Soviets. And we're now down to 53. And then we're going to, everything now is also Western Front production costs over here. So now that's going to be another 10. Now we're down to 43. This cost, I think they cost 5. The mountain units. Let me verify that. Yeah, it costs 5. So now from 43 down to 38. Let's see the status of our beachhead markers, if they're ready. They are ready. So now we're down to 38. I'm going to build these two. Now down to 30. I want to build up these two HQs. Now we're down to 10. So to be clear, we spent 3 HQs. 3 HQs plus another Lend-Lease. So that's 4 HQs, the equivalent of 4 HQs. And then we spent 13 on infantry. So that's 53. We have 10 production points left over. And the question is what to build up. I don't think we can actually build up these units that are right now in Ostende. I don't think they can actually be built up. Let me read about that. The Mulberry. If beachhead supplies. In a friendly controlled hex, beach has access to supply sources to which units can trace to supplies. Mulberry, shore bombardment. I think it actually might be under production. There's city production, available production, transferring, receiving, production, allocations, unit building. replacements. During production, players can build up units in play provided they are unengaged and have secure supplies. Only one step can be added to each unit in production. Production paints are spent for each step added. Units in beachhead supplies, units in engaged areas, and units in Mediterranean fronts before it has been activated have doubled the replacement costs that would otherwise apply. So apparently you can build units at the front line. Oh, provided they are unengaged and have secure supplies. They have to be unengaged, but it says units in beachhead supplies, units in engaged areas, and units in the Mediterranean front before it's been activated have double replacement costs that would otherwise apply. So you can add replacements to engaged units in engaged areas, but these are actually hexes. Technically, they're not areas, so that actually would not apply. So in other words, these units are stuck. So presumably we're going to see more and more German counterattacks in this area, and there's nothing we can do to send reinforcements. So the British should consider, at this present moment, withdrawing. I think at the moment they can withdraw one unit via port, and then 2 units if they do a blitz reverse invasion retreat. So at the present moment, because this unit's only a level 1, this HQ, it can't blitz. We can only withdraw 2 units at the present moment if we wanted to withdraw, which is problematic for the British. I think the idea is that we hold out for another turn, but the Axis presumably are going to be like knocking on our door. It's really going to come down to dice, I think, more than anything. So it is a tricky situation for both sides, for sure. But that's it for the Allied production. And now the strategy for the Allies is to now prepare to launch amphibious invasions against Italy. And it's pretty clear that the main target should be Sicily. We're kind of ahead of schedule. So if we can invade Sicily, say this month, I think that would be a huge win. Or possibly even next month, launch an amphibious invasion against Sicily. That has to be the main priority. I had 10 production points left over, right? I don't know if I spent that or not. I think we still have 10 left over. I don't want to get carried away. 3, 4, 53. I think we still have 10 production points left over. I was hoping to spend more reinforcements at the beachhead, but apparently not. I guess we'll just build up this infantry. And there's really nothing else to build up, I don't think. And maybe, you know what, I maybe make it a priority to withdraw. I might even transfer that HQ over here and try to get it to withdraw as soon as possible. The sooner we can withdraw, the better. I think it has to be a priority that we evacuate. I think at this point, even regardless of the fact that the Axis have also taken heavy casualties, I don't want to risk the possibility that the Germans do inflict even more casualties, in which case our chances of withdrawing are going to be almost nil. So I think it's best that the British do consider at least leaving behind a strong rear guard before withdrawing or something along these lines. And the evacuation is no simple operation. And I'm pretty sure we've decided that we're going to have to leave behind 1 unit. But I think we've accomplished the objective, which was to smash the Axis and inflict heavy casualties. And maybe we hold out for as long as possible, but I'm pretty sure these units are not irreplaceable, but it's going to take a long time to build them up. So it's best if the British don't lose any Kaja units because they're pretty expensive, and if we do sustain casualties, basically all the work that we put in is going to be effectively undone. So I don't know if we try to withdraw or we hold the line and we fight till the bitter end and we accept that these units are going to be destroyed. I'm not really sure what the best move is in this kind of situation, but that's what we're going to leave for next turn. Let's see if the allies actually gain any reinforcements. Nothing yet. We do get an airborne unit in April, so it is the month of April. I'll put that unit in London. And that's it. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. Powerful British counteroffensive at Ostende that completely smashed the Axis. 300 plus thousand casualties. It's like the Axis lost their own, expeditionary force. Meanwhile, we kind of have this sort of contested stalemate on the Eastern Front, where both sides have already exposed a bit of gaping holes in their lines, which can be exploited by either one. So we'll see how in 43 that begins to play out a bit more as the operations become more dense and the fighting becomes a lot more sensitive. And it's going to be a really fascinating game to explore overall. So thank you so much for tuning in. See you all in the next video. Take care of yourselves. And ideally, we play another session next week. Peace out.